you've been at this work for a while, for a long time. How have you seen it change? How I'm thinking in particular of the events of say 2018, 2019, with an increased focus on vulnerable adults and different sort of categories of victim survivors. Tell us a little bit about how the work has changed in the last decade.
Well, in my opinion, first of all, in the 90s, I'm pretty sure the Archdiocese of Chicago was one of the first offices to have a victim assistance program. This was, I think Cardinal Cupich talked about this at that Harvard conference, that before any of this was codified in 2002, we were already doing this. And I think you pointed out, like, had we started in the 90s, as they talked about, this might be a different discussion today. But what I've noticed is, at first, when I started here, what I saw was a lot of what's been described, which was respond to victim survivors as soon as they come forward, provide them with assistance. But everything was coming from the diocese. What I've noticed, the biggest shift I've noticed, is the involvement of victim survivors. And the more that their voices are heard, the more that I believe the programs we can create are meeting their needs. So, like I've talked about the Mass for Hope and Healing. It's just a simple, on its face, there's a Mass. Any church can offer a Mass. But the Mass is so different when you have victim survivors saying, we want to be a part of it. We want to pick the readings. We want to have a deacon that was a victim survivor do the homily. The more they're involved with it, the more that's changed. And to me, that's been the biggest evolution since I started, is seeing more victim survivors taking a role in terms of saying, if you'll work with us, we'll let you know the kinds of things we need to heal.
That took time though, didn't it? I mean, it wasn't, when they first started, it wasn't, you didn't have flocks of people showing up to get involved. There was a level of trust that you had to build.
Yeah, I mean, it started for me with one survivor. Mike Hoffman was available. And so when we did anything, Mike was always, yes, I'll do it. I'll help you. And so at the first Mass, it was Mike who spoke. But then gradually I would go on walks with other victims, and then Mike would speak at the beginning, Jim would speak in the end. And then another victim survivor, like Teresa, would write for our newsletter. And then suddenly another one said, I'll do this. And pretty soon you started getting groups of people that said, we'll do things. And then over time at the Mass, you might get one more victim survivor that says, I'm ready to be involved. But yeah, it did not happen easily. It took a lot of relationship building. It took a lot of time. But I think it's paid off.